Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And tonight's Release the Air cut trends with over 100k tweets of around 106k tweets right now, which is absolutely sensational. When I say release the air cut, I want to see David's movie. The theatrical version is not David's movie, and we must see it. Isaac Cruz Pineda, hey Mick, been looking forward for your live today. Good to hear it. I've been looking forward to doing it, Isaac. So that's great. Welcome to tonight's live chat, where our main headline is Release the Air cut trends with over 106k tweets, which is fantastic. I want to know, do you want to see the air cut? Because I certainly do. We saw the Snyder Cut, but we should have seen the air cut prior to the Snyder Cut, because canonically, that's how we should have seen it. It's trending. Many verified accounts are supporting this. Many huge accounts are supporting this all over social media. I want to see this. And will the studio listen? A total new leadership now. David Zaslav, Pam Adby, Mike DeLuca, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. Now, David Ayer was very supportive of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Will that make a difference? Please don't forget to smash the like button. Isaac Cruz Pineda, it's trending as we speak. Absolutely, yes. John, I'm not bothered about the air cut. I absolutely am, John. Director's vision, no radio music, a total composed piece of music. A totally different movie, and I think we must support a director's vision. I think it's very important. If you're a fan of condensed movies and you just look at every mediocre movie and say, wow, bestest movie ever, that's great, and that's up to you. It's up to you if you care about something or you don't care about something. It's not for me to dictate for you, but I use my platform to help release the Snyder Cut. And I will use my platform again to help release the air cut. I think it's important. Because at the end of the day, the DCEU as it was all about directors' visions, Man of Steel, BVS. We managed to get them to release the extra half-an-hour version of that, the Snyder Cut. Directors' visions are absolutely important. And when you just think that all that matters is the next film, and for example, like Marvel, condensed movies that really don't mean anything. You watch them once and you forget about them. If that's how you want to consume your movies and your entertainment, again, who am I to tell you that you're wrong? Not me. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. But I think I think that it's very important. I'm happy it's trending. I'm happy, should I say, that huge directors, huge people in the entertainment industry, the trades are supporting this. Everyone's supporting this. The Legend CJ, why not release it? It's more money for WB. Isaac Cruz Pineda, hey Mick, Zaslav said we hadn't had a Superman for, let's say that again. Isaac Cruz Pineda, hey Mick, Zaslav said we hadn't had a Superman for the past 50 years. Was it? How come he completely ignored Snyder's BVS, which was 9 years ago? Because he's talking about a standalone Superman movie with Superman in it, and not one where he shares the screen with Batman in it. He did get his maths wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's not important. John, DC need to go forward, not backwards. It's not about that, John. It's not about just saying that, because at the end of the day, we are talking about a director's vision. Yes, we need to move on. Of course we do. But by releasing the air cut, it doesn't mean we're not moving on. It's important. People went around saying that David Ayer's Suicide Squad was a crap movie when it wasn't even his movie. They took it away from him and they shat on it. I was listening to the director's commentary of the first 2 episodes of V, and he was saying he left it after that miniseries because he didn't like the direction he was going. This happens again and again. And John, my friend, it's wrong. We will move forward. Of course we will move forward. But it's important to respect the director's vision. Now, again, I'm not going to dictate to you. It's up to you what you do. if you like the condensedness of the MCU and watching something once, then forgetting about it, that is on you. That's up to you. That's great. Everyone has the right to condense their, or should I say, consume their entertainment the way they want. Abraham Herrera, I have a feeling that The Haircut is an exquisite movie. I agree, Abraham. David Ayer is a great writer and director. He wrote Training Day when he was in his 20s. And Training Day is a movie with Denzel Washington in it. Yeah, there's no question this man had a vision. Zack Snyder gave him his confidence to do this. It was Zack Snyder who put David in the position of making a Suicide Squad movie. And as we've heard from David, Jeff Johns took it away from him. And that's wrong. The movie's completed. The movie's ready. It's ready to go. Just release it. It's going to cost nothing. If you don't want to market it, you don't even have to spend on marketing. Now, my preference is for it to be released on physical media and digital media. Don't just shove it on HBO Max where people like me don't have access to it. You can do that, but immediately release it on physical copy as well. So I'm so happy that people are listening, that this situation is being seen. I think these must be the highest trends the Release the Haircut kind of hashtag has ever had. It's very successful. It's going to go right into the night, next 24 hours, and I'm happy for it. And there's no question about that. The question is, will the studio listen? I hope they do. It's obvious that this doesn't really hurt anything. Now, I think we were screaming at the wind with the old leadership, but this time there's a new leadership. So this could absolutely be a thing. This can absolutely happen, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but they're going to see the trends. They're going to see the important people backing this trend. This is not just the fans. People in the industry are also supporting this as well, which is very, very important. So, yes. Abraham Herrera, I remember the studio forced him to make a statement saying that the theatrical version was his movie, but he later disowned that version. Yes, I remember as the movie was released and people were shitting on it, he said that was the only one. He also said he was being the good soldier. I remember that. I didn't believe him. It was pretty obvious that movie wasn't his. I actually don't mind the theatrical version of the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, should we say? Let's not get it confused with James Gunn's movie. But, you know, what happened to David is probably worse than what happened to Zack. You know, they took this movie away. It was a reaction from BVS. They lost their minds after BVS and they were scared and they tried to turn it into Deadpool. And it didn't work out. You know, critics hated it, but the movie made a lot of money, which is interesting. I mean, the movie did, I think, better than Man of Steel. So that's very, very interesting. John, I heard that James Gunn is not a fan of Leto. James Gunn, and apparently James Gunn and Jared Leto have got a bit of a fragmented history. I don't know why. Abraham Herrera, but that's a personal thing, not a professional thing. Abraham Herrera, look at Fury and the end of Watch. The guy was robbed of his DC movie. I think you are right. It was worse than what happened to Zack. It was because he became collateral damage because the studio wanted to move away from Snyder. The same studio who removed Christopher Nolan and David Goyer after Man of Steel away from the franchise. Now, if what I'm hearing is true, David Goyer and Christopher Nolan are going to be penning Man of Steel 2, and that's justice. Because if David and Chris weren't moved from the franchise, we wouldn't be here now. The DCEU would be more successful with Christopher Nolan involved, but they moved him away. Why? They moved him away and decided to do a Batman and a Superman movie, which was a bad decision, no matter how much I like that movie. So hopefully Chris and David do return to writing the next Superman movie. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I think that will be justice to get the old team together because Man of Steel is a great modern-day Superman movie. And that was written by Christopher Nolan and David Goyer. Zack Snyder merely directed it. Zack Snyder didn't come up with the next snapping moment. That was David Goyer. but Christopher Nolan was a little bit skeptical. Even Nolan was a bit skeptical about that, which is interesting. Abraham Herrera made a lot of money, but they spent a fortune on music rights, lol. Yeah, I mean, the radio music is something that's not even in the air cut. You know, it's a pure score. And personally, it's a preference of mine. I prefer a pure score. I don't mind the odd songs. Now, I think James Gunn does it well with the songs, but I am a person who prefers a good composed score. That's the way I like things. So, yeah, I am happy that it's trending. And if there's anything else you want to talk about, apart from the haircut trending, be my guests. Let me know. Get this show moving. Saturday night. So we don't normally get a lot on the live on a Saturday night. So for those of you who are here, keep the conversation going. The longer you keep it going for, the longer I'll stay live. It's Saturday night, baby. Let's have some fun. But yeah, I'm not saying, as I've said earlier, that they're going to release the haircut, but they can see that there is a will to see it. And I think it would be great if they released it. It'd be absolutely fantastic. So I hope that they do it because, you know, these things are important because, you know, without the directors, without the writer-directors, we don't have the content. And it's not about us demanding what we want all the time. An auteur has a vision. Now, it's important that that vision is consumed by the public, but David never got that opportunity. Abraham Herrera, we need a little leak from air to make this bigger, like an image or a short clip. Yeah, that would be great. I think he's kind of busy working at the moment, but I'm sure maybe David will pop up later on. Fingers crossed, but I think you're right. That would be hype. It's not like he hasn't done that before. He wants this out. He's very passionate about this being released. He's already shown the movie to a fan as well, which is brilliant. So, yeah, for David's sake and the fans' sake, I hope we see it because it is a totally different movie from what I've heard. You know, definitely. Short Circuit. At least DC is trying to come back. Yes. Look, obviously, personally, Short Circuit, I love Man of Steel. I love BVS. I like Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman's one of my favorite movies ever. Zack Snyder's Justice League. I love that. Aquaman. I love that. I love Shazam. Right? And I think the Suicide Squad from James Gunn is great. And so is Peacemaker, the comic book piece of content, my favorite piece of content from comic book live action this year. So mainly, apart from 2 films, I think the DCEU was great. And it would have been better if they didn't remove Snyder. At least let him finish his vision and then start again. So that was even going to implement his own Flashpoint so a new creative could come in. They were fucking dumb. And that's the previous leadership. This is nothing to do with Pam, Mike, David, James, Peter. This is not on them. Let me be absolutely clear about that. This is not on them. They're here to fix things. But Zach wasn't allowed to finish his thing. It's past tense and they're trying to fix it. How they fix it, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm excited about that. We can move on, but we can also support a director's vision. Something that James Gunn said on his opening statement about creating a shared universe, but also respecting directors' vision. Abraham Herrera, well, if you think about it, Zaslav meeting must have been about Superman mainly. He summoned the best of the best for the job. It's very interesting. Some people are denying that, but I agree with you. With Safran being there, Zaslav being there, and Spielberg especially, and Nolan. And as I was saying on today's DC Universe Daily Live, Nolan wouldn't have been seen dead with a WB executive this time last year. But he's sitting there with Zaslav, right? Something's going on. This is why I kind of feel that maybe Nolan and Goya will definitely be writing the next Superman film. Now, who directs it? Are they talking to Spielberg about that? I think if he's there in that conversation and it's about Superman, then yeah. Obviously, Black Hawk was something he was going to do. Maybe that's something he's still going to do, and that's what he was doing there for. But it does seem like it's a Superman thing because they are, I can tell you, they're fast-tracking this Superman film. So I think you're right. It's definitely about Superman, which is exciting. Short Circuit. It's really sad how DC movies are falling failing in the box office. I have watched Black Adam 3 times and I enjoyed every time. But when I heard it's failing, I am really sad now. Short Circuit, it's not failing. This is a very small character in the DC universe. It'll probably make around 400 million. And that's a solid box office, my friend. It can't all be $1 billion. So as far as I'm concerned, Black Adam hasn't failed. Now, if the critics gave it a better write-up, it would have done slightly better. But ultimately, this is not a failure. WB, Zaslav has said he's happy with the performance in the box office of it, so this is not failing. You enjoyed it. Don't worry about the box office. You think it's a good movie. You enjoyed it. You're the consumer. You don't need to worry about that. The only time we need to worry about box office if we're not going to get any more DC. Well, we have a huge future now with DC live action, so we don't need to worry. Abraham Herrera, what all that talk about making Superman great again? How else would you achieve that if not by getting the top directors in Hollywood? But doesn't this show you how great and how ambitious David Zaslav is? Steven fucking Spielberg. When I was a kid, I wanted Spielberg and Lucas to make together a Superman movie because I loved Lucas and Spielberg growing up. I still do. Now, obviously, Lucas is retired and no spring chicken. Neither is Spielberg, but Spielberg isn't going to stop. So Spielberg writing a movie written by David Goyer and Christopher Nolan, yeah, I'm all for that. That would be amazing. And I think that Spielberg wants this for his legacy because the older you get in this game, the more you want to cement your legacy. Spielberg directing a Superman movie sells it automatically. So it's interesting why he was there. He's talking to him for a reason. It wasn't just a random meeting. Short Circuit, Rock is promoting Black Adam versus Superman. Do you think it's a good idea to fight directly with Superman without fighting Shazam first? What's your view? My view is that no one has ever said that Shazam is going to fight, Superman and Black Adam are going to fight before Shazam and Black Adam do. No one's actually said that. They've teased something at the end of the movie. Mainly, they teased Superman's return rather than a fight. So I believe they will honour the myth of Shazam fighting Black Adam. It may be something we see in the same movie. Shazam fighting Black Adam and then Superman fighting Black Adam. Wouldn't that be awesome? We're just making, with all due respect, Short Circuit, I think you're making an assumption there. Abraham Herrera, hey, Short Circuit, I think DC movies failing isn't true. That narrative is being pushed. They are moderate successes. Yeah, that movie is a moderate success. John, have you seen Spielberg's first movie, Duel? Of course, it's a great movie. Spielberg is one of the great directors. Of course he is. Look at what he's done. I mean, I'm a fan of AI, which he also did, but he's done many movies. He did the one with Tom Cruise, which was great as well, Minority Report. Look, Steven Spielberg is one of the greats. To have him, and I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but to potentially have him as a director of a Superman movie would be sensational. But in terms of Black Adam, not every movie can make $1 billion. It's one of those things. And if the DCU was a more relatable franchise, then yeah, people would come in automatically. But that's not where we are, and that's okay. We will get there. It's about your personal enjoyment of each movie. It isn't about how much it makes, what its Rotten Tomato score is. Those things shouldn't really be important to you. It should be about the movie. If you enjoyed it, that's a good thing. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. It's a success then. It's a solid, moderate success. It was never going to be anything else. Black Adam's standing, even in the comic books, isn't that huge. So to assume that this movie, with this moderate character, with this ex-wrestler, footballer, was going to suddenly, pull in $1 billion, you've got to be living in fantasy land. So it's a good, solid, as Abraham says, moderate success. And I'm happy. I'm happy. Zaslav's happy. That's all we need to know. Short Circuit, yeah, I know. I just want DC movies to perform good because we all know how strong the DC characters are in comics. Absolutely. As a fan, you want them to do the best they can do. But I would feel confident. You enjoyed the movie, Short Circuit. It's clear about that. So don't worry about the box office. It's okay. The studio are happy with it. And I can report to you, according to some rumors, that the script for a sequel has already been completed. Now, that's interesting. Doesn't mean it's going to happen as a film. It doesn't mean it's been greenlit, but that's interesting. True or false? Is it just a rumor or is it true? I have no idea. John, he also did Ready Player One. Yeah, the man's a great. There's no question about that. If he was to make a DC movie, a Superman movie, it would be huge. And just for Zaslav meeting with him, now clearly that could be a pitch meeting. You know, that could be Nolan making his pitch for the movie and Spielberg listening to that pitch. Just because first at the meeting it was just Spielberg and Zaslav and Safran and Nolan turned up later, it doesn't mean it wasn't a proper meeting. Android 118XX. If you had to choose between the three, who would you want to direct MOS to? Steven Spielberg, Tim Burton, James Cameron. Well, clearly, any sane person would wheedle it down to Steven Spielberg and James Cameron. That would be a very, very difficult decision. James would write and direct the movie. He would shape it on his own. I mean, that would be a great opportunity. The man's a genius. Spielberg is a huge name. Maybe I'll give you this. How about a Superman movie written by James Cameron and directed by Steven Spielberg? A similar thing that Spielberg's done before with George Lucas on the Indy franchise. So I'll tell you that. What do you think about that, Android 118XX? Abraham Herrera, I love how ambitious Zaslav is. I hope that meeting was fruitful. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. They're definitely fast-tracking the movie and, you know, they're in talks. So let's see what happens. That meeting could actually be a distraction. Maybe there's someone else coming in. I don't know. Short Circuit, will the Green Lantern project be a movie or will it be a series? Any idea? The official, well, not official, but the media are saying the original show is being redeveloped into a Jon Stewart HBO Max streaming show. What I actually want is for Green Lantern, the core, to be, you know, in cinemas, in movie theaters, as an epic, you know, 7-movie franchise like Hamada wanted to do. So that's what I would like, Short Circuit. Android 118XX sounds really cool, Mick. Yeah, that would be excellent. You know, James Cameron writes it and Spielberg directs it. Jesus Christ, they can both fucking direct the movie. You know, both write it. Either you could actually have both of them involved. It would be sensational. MSGT released the air cut. I couldn't agree more. It's trending. It could end up at, you know, over 200. What is it? 200,000 tweets. What is it? 100,000 right now. Yeah, 200,000. Yeah. It could end up like that, which would be great. Great success for the fans. Credit to all those fans who are running this and running the trending event. And it's very successful. And as I say, a lot of verified accounts are supporting this. Many directors are supporting this, which is great. Short Circuit, with Constantine 2 coming, I think WB is setting up Justice League Doc, provided Constantine 2 is part of the DCU. Well, that's interesting because that's what J.J. Abrams was attempting to do, but I think he ain't got much of a future at WB and his projects are going to be cancelled. Basically, Westworld was being produced by his own company, and I think his brother was behind it. MSGT, I have everybody I know who does the Twitter thing, pushing release the air cut. Well done, well done. That's great. The more the merrier, the more people. Hopefully we get to see it because we haven't seen the movie. We haven't seen that movie. It's a dramatically different movie. And I would love to see it if they do a better job with the villain, if they do a better job with the plot, and if they do a better job with Jared Leto. Most of Leto's stuff was on the cutting room floor. Most of the Death Shots stuff, Will Smith stuff, was on the cutting room floor. And the same for all of them. So... And I think in David's movie, I don't think the guy with the fire, he doesn't die, I don't think. So, pretty different. Abraham Herrera, maybe there are other meetings coming up with other creatives. Absolutely, yeah. They are going for this. They're pushing for this to happen as soon as possible. They need the best director. They're not messing about. They want this to be successful. So Henry's out there in the public talking, and, you know, they're talking to the best directors. Whether Spielberg is willing to put his reputation on the line for this movie, that's another case in point. I'm assuming Spielberg would want to choose who writes the movie. Short Circuit, in 2024, there is not a single announcement of DCU movies. Don't you think it's a bit risky to not have any DCU movies in 2024? Well, here's the thing, Short Circuit. This new leadership have only just come in. It's not their fault that Hamada and Emmerich, couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. So you're right. There are no DCU movies for 2024 right now, but, and that's interesting. Now, could it be? Could they quickly, green light movies to start shooting? It's not probable. So 2024 will be the year for the Joker, and only Joker, unless something dramatic happens. But then they can start preparing themselves for 2025 so they can be ready for the future. So it's not perfect, but it's not the new leadership's fault. It is what it is. Android 118XX. I would love to see George Lucas to direct a Green Lantern movie, wouldn't we all? And expand the universe. He has the Star Wars experience, but do you think he could mess up? Do you think he could mess up due to his lack of knowledge for DC Comics? First of all, I think he would do a great job and he could read up on the comics. Maybe he knows more about DC than we think he does. But ultimately, Android 118XX, not going to happen because he's retired. Abraham Herrera, was Ready Player One a WB movie? I can't remember. I'm not sure. Someone check that out because I ain't got my phone on. Someone Google this. What studio produced Ready Player One? If you've got your phones next to you or your laptops, please find that out because I'm actually very interested about that as well, Abraham. So, yeah, please. So this is Movies TV Mad Live. We are here every morning with the DC Universe Daily Live. There's a little pre-recorded video in the middle of that. And then in the evening, we're doing this live chat, just taking it easy, talking about what we want to talk about, me reacting to your comments and answering your questions. And it's my pleasure to do so. And because we're a small channel, everyone's comments get responded to. Unless you're being an arsehole, then I ignore you, obviously. That's super. Yes, it was WB. Interesting. MSGT, George Lucas. The reason Empire Strikes Back was so good was that Lucas did not direct. The prequels are a mess because he directed. The man is a better visionary than a director. Well, whether that's true or not, MSGT, I love the prequels. It was his vision. He was basically fleshing out his universe. I like the prequels. I think they're good. But people were naive thinking that the prequels were going to be the same as the original trilogy. He was telling a backstory, and I liked it. I liked what he did. Now, it's not to everyone's cup of tea, but his vision. Now, clearly, he is a better writer than he is a director. There's no question about that. That's why he wrote Indy and Spielberg directed them. Short Circuit, there are so many projects that can DC make just due to the lack of planning. We DC fans are in this position. DC fans deserve better. I hope new regime gives all things we want. Well, I don't think it's important we get everything we want. I hope that what they make is of good quality. So there's lots of things I want, but I can't expect them to give them to me. But the past has gone, Short Circuit. We must focus on the future. We've got a great 6 people running this studio and running DC now. It's very exciting for me. Ronnie Dodge. Hey, Mick. Good evening, Ronnie, and welcome to our live chat. Hope you're doing okay. Abraham Herrera. Now that Disney messed it up, a lot of people found a new appreciation for the prequels. Yes, but I always liked them. So I wasn't surprised with what I saw. It was George's vision. George always explained this was the vision. So I wasn't expecting anything else. In terms of the fandom menace, he made a film to attract a new generation of viewers to Star Wars. Guess what? You talk to the people who love the prequels. They were the kids he wanted to get into Star Wars. His plan worked. I love Attack of the Clones, the introduction of the Stormtroopers, and Revenge of the Sith is fucking amazing. So I love them. You don't have to, by the way. None of you have to like it. I'm just saying that I do. Android 118 XX. I also want to see the Schumacher cut for Batman Forever. That would be nice. And obviously, Schumacher is now dead. So it will be a nice kind of epitaph for him, wouldn't it? But who knows? And there's a lot of people who want the Fury cut of Superman 4. Never know. You never know. Let's see what happens with the sequel. Let's see what happens. Sorry, with the air cut. Short Circuit. Do we always have to follow 10 comics exactly? Spider-Man was never an integral part of Avengers in comics, but he played a greater part in movies. DC follows similar thing with any character. Well, I don't know about Marvel Comics deeply, but I will say this, Short Circuit. Spider-Man is the most famous Marvel character, and there's no question about that. Now, in terms of should DC follow similar things with any character, or what I think is that you start with your Holy Trinity, and then you flesh out the universe with your Plastic Man and your lower characters. There's a place in the DC Studios universe, in the DC universe, for all these characters, and it doesn't have to be a blueprint where we only focus on some or others. Ronnie Dodge, I would realize David's cut so we can see it, and then let James and Peter build their blueprint. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. MSGT, I think DC fans are in this mess because we have signaled to WB all sorts of nonsense. Not my Superman, Snyderverse or bust. We are determined to either hate or love any given movie. Well, there is an element of truth to the MSGT, but don't forget, we didn't do this. We didn't bring in Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan. We didn't mess around with Snyder's and Ayer's movies. We didn't do this. So the reason why there's Restore the Snyderverse, why there's Release the Ayer cut, is because of the decisions the previous leadership did. Justice League happened not because of us, but because of them, because of their greed. There was lots of different ways they could have gone in if they wanted to move away from Snyder. Come out, both parties, creative differences. We're starting again. Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon are going to start their own universe. But they got greedy. They wanted their bonuses. And they just wanted to cheat their way to the top. That's not on us. That's on them. MSGT, so Release the Ayer cut. Android 118 XX. Is Keanu Reeves really playing Constantine again? He is. I prefer we reboot and recast and add the character to the DCEU. It's not going to happen. Keanu Reeves puts butts in seats, so he'll be back. MSGT, how does this hashtag algorithm work? Is it just a Twitter thing, or does it count on YouTube channels and such? If you're doing it on Twitter, it's on Twitter. So, yeah, it don't spread. But, of course, we're spreading the word tonight here on YouTube. That helps. You've got to do it on each platform if that's the way you want to do it. Ronnie Dodge, days like this make me nervous. Having a DC president on Twitter, fans will be respectful, but some will attack. James, well, I'll give you the analogy, my friend. You could walk down the street and someone could headbutt you or give you a cuddle or just ignore you. That is people. That's what living is about. Look at me. Some people love me. Some people hate me. Some people ignore me. That's life. We can't be loved by everyone. We can't expect kindness from everyone. This is what life is all about, my friend. So, and ultimately, Ronnie, James is a millionaire. He's successful. He's big enough and ugly enough to look after himself. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. And that's my take on that one. But yeah, you can't expect everyone to love you in life, I'm afraid. Ronnie Dodge, no, what you see is what you get, in my opinion. At the end of the day, you can't expect a beautiful experience from everyone. As simple as that. And, this is life. This is life. Not everyone's going to like us, I'm afraid. And you can't expect a free ride in life. You can't expect everyone to pat you on the head and tell you, well done. It's like me. I can't expect to be a successful YouTuber just because I turn up and look in the camera. No one has the divine right for everyone to love them. It just is what it is. So the best thing to do in life is get out there, be yourself and enjoy it, and surround yourself with people you want to be around. Love life, love people. Don't be infected by hatred And I tell you what, when I put when I put my head in the pillow, on the pillow at night, I sleep soundly. I don't stay up at night. I don't feel bad. I don't think, oh, that person hates me on YouTube. I just don't care because I'm just doing what I want to do in my life. Short circuit. I just hope the 2023 DCU movies are good. Let's take small steps and currently focus on Air Cut release and then on Shazam 2. Also, those 4 movies coming out next year are nothing to do with this new leadership, so it's difficult, Short Circuit. Android 118 XX, do you think we would have been better off with Dan Ling or Gunn? Dan Ling was never going to happen. Android 100. Let me explain to you about Dan Ling because the reports were bullshit. He was an applicant. He wanted the job. He didn't get the job. And that's it. No, I don't think we were better off with Dan Ling. I think that James Gunn is a great director. He respects directors. And I think that Safran is an experienced producer, a mogul, someone with his own production company. We have the best of both worlds. And plus, we have the buffer of Zaslav, DeLuca, and Agbe. So if they do kind of do things that they're not happy with before they actually do them, they won't be allowed to get away with it. So we've actually got a great unit, a great structure here. So yes, I'm very happy with this structure, very happy with James, Peter. I always like Peter Safran, by the way. When he used to talk about Shazam or the DC movie he made, he was a good talker. He reminded me of Kevin Feige, and I liked him, and I wanted him to kind of take over this franchise. He seemed like a good egg. MSGT, I think what Ronnie is thinking about is how people like Sarnoff reacted to the Snyderverse fanatics. She and Emmerich were willing to obliterate the DCEU based on those fanatics. No, MSGT. That's not what happened there. Let me explain to you that Sarnoff and Emmerich didn't want to embrace the Snyderverse. No matter what those fans did or said, that wouldn't have made the difference. Sarnoff was smart. She came out and distracted the situation, saying fans are bad, fans make threats, blah, 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 to distract the narrative. But they wouldn't, even if you get, do you realize that Snyder fans were sending her flowers when she started her job, my friend? So it's always important that you don't believe everything that you're sold. So what does she do? She just used it as a distraction. There was a civil war between Warner Brothers Pictures, AT&T, and Warner Media. There was a civil war between Snyder and WB Pictures. It was terrible, and the fans had nothing to do with that. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're all fanatics because fan is short for fanatics. Ronnie Dodge, I'd like to see David's movie, just we can all move on from the old DCEU and let's enjoy the DCU. It's not going to please everyone, but I'm very excited. Well, you can't please everyone, Ronnie, but when you stop trying to please everyone, that's the time you should give up. Ronnie Dodge, Peter Safran is amazing in his interviews. He certainly is. He impressed me from the very beginning. Short Circuit. Well, any idea when Peacemaker 2 will be released? I love that series and I just want a movie or series on Vigilante. I agree with everything you said there, Short Circuit. James obviously won't be done with Disney and Marvel till May next year. Then he'll get working on it. I'm sure he's already written it, but obviously it has to be shot. MSGT, I see. I would love to see a documentary on this whole Snyderverse thing one day. Some people have done stuff, you know, like that on YouTube. You could probably find some stuff. Android 118 XX. So WB watched Blue Beetle and enjoyed it. Well, there's been a test screening. They've obviously already watched it, but I still think it's going to go back for reshoots. I still think that. So I know people are saying, oh, everyone loves it, but there'll be changes because there's certain things that I'm not comfortable with, and I'm sure the studio are not comfortable with. But I'm glad that everyone likes it, that's seen it, and that's good news. It's not particularly a film I'm getting overly excited about. I'm not really into Blue Beetle, but it's DC. So, of course, I'm moderately excited about it. But I'm more excited about the new era of DCU. These movies are there. They have to be released. We'll see where we go from there. Short Circuit, if there is a Justice League movie coming up, they should not just show Darkseid because I think Darkseid is like the big daddy. If DC Darkseid should be developed properly, yeah, you've got to show the new gods. Basically, he sends the new gods first, the Intergang, that kind of thing. I know what you're saying. MSGTR, Peacemaker was great, but I hated that they did that to Vigilante. It worked for comedy. Vigilante was such a seriously cool character. in the 1980s comic. I know what you mean. He's not comic book accurate, but actually, although he's very funny and he's basically there for laughs, there's also something really messed up about this version of Vigilante. And I think if we ever see a standalone show, there'll be a balance there. So I'm really happy with this version of Vigilante. Abraham Herrera, but there is now a DC Studios, right? Yes, James Gunn and Peter Safran are the co-chairs of DC Studios. That is correct. We have DC Studios, we have Warner Brothers Pictures, and we have Warner Brothers Discovery, which is run by David Zaslav. Warner Brothers Pictures, which is run by Pamela Adby and Mike DeLuca, and DC Studios, run by Peter Safran and James Gunn. MSGT, yep, DC Studios, finally, it's about time too. Android 118XX, do you think Blue Beetle will introduce a new DC character? If you had a choice, who would it be? And it can be one of the big ones that we have seen on screen. The only one that fits in there is Booster Gold, because Booster Gold and Blue Beetle go together like bread and butter. So that's what I'd like to see. Running Dodge, James Gunn runs DC Studios on his Insta bio at last. Oh, is that what it says, does it? Oh, that's so cool. My phone's fucked. I can't charge it. So I haven't been on Instagram for a while. I have ordered a brand new phone, everyone. A cheap, shitty phone, but hopefully it comes next Wednesday or Thursday. So everything's being done via my laptop at the moment, but not Instagram and shit like that. So I'm just not going to waste my time until I get my phone. Short Circuit. Will the next MOS movie be only with Superman or both Supergirl and Superman will be there? Any idea? I think if Nolan and Goyer write this, because they did tease Supergirl in the first movie, and them and Snyder had a prequel comic giving us Supergirl's backstory. So if they're involved, I'm confident Supergirl will play a part. Android 118XX. So is Manganiello getting his Deathstroke movie? I'm not sure if it's a movie, but there are kind of rumors about him in a James Gunn series on HBO Max. That would be great. But these are just rumors, of course. MSGT, I don't think many people have an idea what this Blue Beetle movie is doing. Well, obviously, normally you don't know what a movie's doing until you see the trailer anyway. So you wouldn't know what that movie's doing yet. It hasn't been promoted. It hasn't been marketed. So that's just normal. MSGT, hit the likes, folks. Thank you very much, MSGT. Yes, please smash the like button because I'm really enjoying tonight's live. Abraham Herrera, well, I feel like nobody is talking about DC Studios. People are talking about James Gunn and Henry Cavill and Zaslav, but the thing on the headline should be DC Studios. Well, here's the thing. They don't need to talk about DC Studios. All DC Studios has to do is make good shit. That's it. It's up to people who they want to talk about. James Gunn is a famous director, a beloved director. So clearly they're going to be talking about Henry and James because they're beloved. And that's okay. Ronnie Dodge, I think there's rumours of Deathstroke on a Checkmate series or movie. I believe we're getting a Checkmate series or movie, probably a series by James Gunn. And I think Deathstroke is in it rather than it being just about him. I think Waller is finally getting Checkmate together. Of course, if you're a Smallville fan, we've already seen Checkmate in live action and done really well. Those checkered tiles were awesome. And the way she killed Icicle, brilliant. So that's exciting. I'd be very hyped for a Checkmate show or movie. And that's going to be, I think, in James Gunn's department. MSGT at DC Studios only stood up 4 days ago. There's nothing really to talk about just yet. But I've read that they are looking to announce a few things in December, probably a loose road map of sorts. That would be awesome. I hope that's a thing. That would be great for us to discuss and react to too. Ronnie Dodge, Deathstroke's going after the surviving Suicide Squad members under Waller. Could be good. Be awesome. Yes, please. Inject it in my veins. Short Circuit, Batman v Deathstroke and Batman v Red Hood should be developed. These two movies are the Batman movies I'm waiting for ages now. Yeah, everyone wants something, obviously. Let's see. I would love that. I think that would be really cool. Android 118XX. Although I'm excited for Blue Beetle, I would have much preferred him to make a debut in a Teen Titans movie. I hope Blue Beetle will lead to a Teen Titans movie. It's like what I just said. Everyone wants something, don't they? So I'm sure they're looking at these things, but you've got to walk, of course, before you can run. Because kind of we are starting again with new leadership. Ronnie Dodge saw Black Adam a fourth time, still love it. It's a great, tight, condensed, exciting, entertaining movie for sure. And it does what it says on the tin. And as I said, on my non-spoiler review, it's everything that I hoped for. I didn't expect The Dark Knight. I didn't expect Joker. I was happy with what I got. So, yeah, absolutely agree. It's a great movie. We have 10 viewers. Hello, everyone. 6 likes. If you haven't liked the video, please do. It really does help. Not that I get many likes anyway, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? Ronnie Dodge, we all something, but I'm going to let James and Peter do their thing and get this slate out. Andrew in 108 in double X. Can you imagine what Gunn could do with a Teen Titans movie, lol? Be amazing. John, do you think Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne could just cameo going forward like the MCU characters like Nick Fury? This is what I think, right? We already know his role in Flashpoint. He's on a screen. We see him at the beginning with Barry. He obviously, we don't see him obviously to the end of the movie during Flashpoint because then we see Keaton. At the end of the movie, it's confirmed, and I've seen it, that he's on a screen begging Barry for help, like Barry was doing to him after the nightmare sequence in BVS. I believe when we see him again in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, he's on another screen begging Arthur Curry for help. And I think that's as much as we'll see him in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. MSGT, what studio owns G.I. Joe? Paramount. It was an awesome Marvel comic in the 1980s, but that doesn't mean Disney owns it. That is a franchise waiting to be done right. Yeah, I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but yeah, no one's really done that justice. You're right. Ronnie Dodge, there's some actors from the Titan show I would bring into the DCU. Yeah, they're very good, very well cast. I have my doubts that they will cross over, but who knows? Short Circuit, Black Adam breaks the throne at last. Don't you think it's a bit weird because Black Adam can't do anything for his city or family? Breaking the throne, I kind of feel weird. Well, the whole idea was he didn't want to be a ruler. He wants to be a protector. He wants to be there for them, but he doesn't want to rule them. He doesn't want to conquer them. He wants to be there for them. That's the whole point. So, and that makes perfect sense to me because in this, he's not a villain. He's an anti-hero. Abraham Herrera, here's a prediction. Zaslav will meet with Zack Snyder, maybe not to direct, but he did create the franchise. You know, I think that he's already spoken to Zack. John, that scene might not still be in the Flash movie. Yes, it depends if they're going to go forward with Final Crisis. So you're right, they may have removed it. I have a suspicion that it's still the thing. MSGT, breaking the throne was symbolic. The people don't need a ruler. Exactly. Ronnie Dodge, I like Brenton as Nightwing and the Connor Kent actor. Yeah, really good. I really like most of them. But when shows go, normally the actors go in those roles as well. Short Circuit, I still believe Zack Snyder will come back for a Justice League movie. If Zack comes back, I believe it's for Man of Steel 2. I think that's where he could be at. Personally, I'd like to see him on Wonder Woman or Cyborg. That's where I think his strengths lie. But we will see. But I don't know anything about Zack coming back or not coming back. There's the thing. I know Zack would bite their hands off to come back. We all know that. But we can only, kind of wish. We don't know. That's for sure. But he could direct Man of Steel 2. And he kind of hinted about that when he was talking on that video to Henry Cavill the other day. I can't wait to work with you again. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with that. I'm fine. MSGT, I don't know about Snyder. It will be hard for Zaslav to pull all the fans back to the table if Snyder gets back in. That's a good point. But as I say, we just don't know what they're thinking. Short Circuit, I just saw a post a few days back that Wonder Woman 3 movie will have a DC Trinity. Do you have any ideas? I haven't heard. Well, there's been rumors for a long time that movie will be turned into a Trinity movie. Let's see. I think they would like that. It's money. And oh boy, do WB need all the money they can get. Ronnie Dodge, James and Peter won't hand Zach the keys back. Get that out of your heads. But could direct 1 or 2 movies. Yeah, I don't think anyone's suggesting he gets the keys back. But yeah, I think Man of Steel is an option. I think Man of Steel 2 is an option. I think Wonder Woman could be an option. And if he comes back with Ray and does Cyborg, I think that would be cool too. He's a wonderful director, Ronnie. You know, whatever people think of him, whatever you think of him, he's a wonderful director. And I personally think it will be pretty dumb when a man can photograph and shoot and do the cinematography that he can. It will be an absolute miss because I don't think anyone's made superhero movies as stunning as he has. I mean, I think James Wan is the only one who's come close. Go away, Paigey. I don't want to see your stupid video. MSGT at Ronnie Dodge. I don't even think that is a possibility. There's too much division involved with Snyder now. Well, as I say, we don't know what they're thinking. So I'm not going to say no or yes. Abraham Herrera, no, Zach is very good director. What you should be worried about is who writes MOS2. Well, I think right now it's probably Christopher Nolan and David Goyer, the same people who did the first movie. We will see. Ronnie Dodge, Zach can direct movies. I feel writers can give him issues. Well, some people think writers, he can't write. So if you've got other, I think he was perfect with Goyer and Nolan in Man of Steel. And I think they could work together again perfectly, personally. Short Circuit, I'm just thinking, and in my head, so many movies are coming just like Dr. Fate, Hawkman, Man of DC does correctly. Well, everything will be an absolute wow. MSGT, Snyder is also a visionary. MCU works because directors for hire are involved. If they want a cohesive DCU, visionaries don't like working within a box. Well, James Gunn has already said he's going to support auteur directors and, you know, let them have their own visions as well. So I think it'll be a mixture of the two. You say it works in terms of box office, right, and branding, but not necessarily in terms of good movies. It depends what you want. Android 118XX, still don't know if Snyderverse is returning. I know they're going a new direction, but will Snyderverse return? Or they could merge it with the new direction. Your guess is as good as mine. I think maybe a merger, but I don't know how much is going to be involved. But until someone says it's impossible to happen, we can believe, we can have faith. Abraham Herrera, by the way, did you hear about Tarantino's comments when asked if he would direct a Marvel movie? I certainly did. It's hilarious. He hates Disney. He hates Marvel. That's obvious. And did you ever think that he would do a comic book movie? I mean, as I said today, I have met Quentin Tarantino before, and he's a fascinating guy. He really is. And he really doesn't mind talking. And he actually spoke to me about his idea for a Superman movie, and my mouth was like this. The man is a genius. He really understands Superman. And I mean, that would be amazing for Quentin to be able to do kind of an Elseworlds Superman movie one day, because the man's a fucking genius. He's up there with the greats. He is a fucking great. Yes, he's insane as well. And that's another reason I like him. And probably something me and him have got in common. Ronnie Dodge, I feel James and Peter will do their own there with that earnings call. They have a passionate project. If the Snyderverse was coming back, that wouldn't happen. Yeah, I don't think the Snyderverse is coming back. We'll see. More than likely, Ronnie, he's never going to direct a DC movie again. But until we know any different, you know, me as an admirer, I'm just saying him with Christopher Nolan and David Goyer working together like they did in Man of Steel, I'd be fine with that. But they're also obviously aware that he's a divisive director, and that might put them off. I do concede that as well. MSGT, even Sarnoff and Emmerich knew that Batfleck and Cavill were Snyderverse. They'd been gone near 5 years. They are back. Snyderverse is not just Snyder's Dark Side story. Well, many passionate Snyder fans feel no Snyder, no Snyderverse. Ronnie Dodge, Snyderverse lives on through the casting of actors, not the story. And yeah, I go back to my point. Many people believe no Snyder, no Snyderverse. Android 180XX. Kill Bill was his own comic movie. Loved his style and vision in that movie. The man's a genius. There's no question about it. He's a genius, and he knows he's a genius. And he loves talk. He loves films. This is what I like about him. He loves the art form. He loves stories. He's a magnificent, interesting, unique person. He isn't a perfect human being, but boy, is he an interesting guy to talk to. And I was amazed. I was amazed because I thought he would say 2 words to me and move on to the next person. But it was a very interesting conversation. And I was just dumbfounded all the way through it. And I thought afterwards, oh, shit, man, Mick, why don't you just... But I was like, you know, he's a great guy. So I was kind of intimidated. Ronnie Dodge, no Snyderverse, there's lost. Get left behind, simple as that. Well, listen, it's up to every individual person how they see things. MSGT, Kill Bill was a comic. I thought that was a Tarantino original. I think what the other person meant was it was like his version of a comic book movie. John, they would just use Zack Snyder's characters. Well, they're not his characters. He cast them, but obviously the characters were created by other people. But super. Tarantino is fantastic. Some people are triggered over his comments, but honestly, they need to chill. His comments about Marvel and Disney are bang on, and he hates them because of what they did to his movie. They wouldn't allow his movie to play in one theater, so their Star Wars movie could play for its entire run. That's why he's got an agenda against them, and I don't blame him. Team Quinton every single fucking time. Get triggered. Quinton doesn't care. You know, people, why does he care if a bunch of fucking MCU shills hate him? He's the great Quentin Tarantino. And a lot of people are overrated in this industry. He ain't one of them. Ronnie George, there's not Zack's characters. They are DC characters. Zack does have the right on the DC characters. Well, he will always get the credit of executive producer because obviously he cast the people. John, I meant to say they would just use Zack's actors. That's right. At this moment in time, we really don't know what they're going to do and who they're going to use, who they're not going to use. So I'm just waiting and seeing. I'm not going to make any kind of assumptions because that's dangerous in this game. Android 118XX. I have a feeling if Zaslav spoke to Tarantino to direct the Superman movie, his response will be, it'll be controversial. Well, this is what I'm talking about. Quentin could do an Elseworld, like the Elseworld Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix or the Batman. It doesn't have to be in the central universe. Then it doesn't matter how controversial it is. MSGT, Ronnie Dodge, I think the point was that the actors are Snyderverse, not the characters they play. Abraham Herrera, Tarantino knows he wouldn't direct someone else's vision, so he stays away from that. Zack made the mistake of thinking he could bypass the committee, and he fell flat. You've got a great point there. If I could just read the rest of it without this notification. Zack made the mistake of thinking he could bypass the committee, and he fell flat on his face. But he's a good man. John, apart from Ray Fisher. Ronnie Dodge, James and Peter has only been in the job since Tuesday, so we need to cut them slack and say we want this and that. Yeah, fans are going to be fans, my friend. You know, that's why they're fanatics, because people are passionate. And that's okay. And James and Peter want that, want people to be excited and say, we want this, we want that. They can't always give us what we want, but, you know, if people are not excited and hyped, then they'd be out of a job. They can handle it. They can handle it. They knew this is a very pressured job. No one's really succeeded at it. It's not really been a position like this before. So there's a lot of pressure. So let's see what they can do. It's clear they have a blueprint. It's clear they've already worked out a slate. When they release that slate, your guess is as good as mine. Maybe sooner rather than later. Just because they were announced on Tuesday doesn't mean they've only been working at the job. I believe they've been in the job since this summer because they've been talking to Zaslav since this summer. So they've been making plans, my friend, for quite a few months, probably since April or May. Now, Zaslav wasn't here then, I don't think, if I remember rightly, but unofficially, he was communicating with people. This is Movies TV Mad Live. We have 8 viewers, 6 likes. Smash that like button if you haven't yet. Let's do this. We have been live for 1 whole hour, and wow, the conversation has been flowing because Saturdays are normally shit. So I'm surprised, but I'm very, very happy. Maybe it's the time I went live. Ronnie Dodge, they should announce the slate on a big day, on a Marvel day, like a bit of a revenge lull. Good idea. Why not? I'm for that. Android 108 double X. Do you think Shazam 2 may earn more money than Black Adam? No. It may well do. I don't think it will. I think it's going to make about the same. I don't think any of these DC movies are going to really do much, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I just feel that these are movies that just have to be released because they're not part of the vision. You know, it's a bit of a weird situation, isn't it? Abraham Herrera, is the time, Mick. Most of the time I'm asleep when you go live. I see. Yeah, what happens is sometimes I have a late dinner and then I come on a bit later. That's the problem. Ronnie Dodge, the big test will be The Flash. It's going to be an interesting film. What changes have they made to it? What does it mean? I personally think people are going to like that movie. I think people are going to give Ezra acclaim for it. And I still think he could keep the role. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility. We will see. But The Flash, obviously, I don't think The Flash now is under as much pressure as it would have been under Hamada. The Flash was Hamada's baby. It was going to change the timeline. Clearly now Hamada's not here, so there's not as much pressure. Hamada's plan was that everything was on that movie. There's not that pressure now because these movies aren't the vision of James and Peter. So they can come out, the studio will want to make money from them, but there's not the pressure because it's not part of their vision. Ronnie Dodge, I've heard nothing but good things about Sasha Supergirl. Hopefully she stays as Kara. That'll be an interesting thing as well. This is the problem with, or the thing with new leaderships. They don't always, want to stick with the other people's decisions. And that's understandable. We will see. We will see. I know nothing about Sasha Calle apart from what I saw of her in the test screening. She was good. She was solid. I mean, she didn't make a huge impression on me or anything, but she was good enough. I think the problem is the Kara that I saw didn't really have a connection to Superman as such. So it was difficult. And I knew she was replacing him. That was another issue for me. So now the film's certainly going to be slightly different in terms of Supergirl. So that's going to be interesting. Abraham Herrera, I mean, Amber is still Mira and she destroyed a man's life and reputations. Ezra can keep Flash when he only went on a drunken rampage. Well, he did a bit more than that, my friend. He's being accused of grooming a child. He's accused of many things. Now, I'm not saying any of these things are true, but it's not just about a drunken rampage. He's accused of multiple things and serious things. But here's the thing. These people don't have to be perfect human beings. We don't have to be perfect human beings. We're all flaws, and we shouldn't look down on their behavior. The problem is, the reason why we do is because they lecture us about life and how we should behave. And then they behave like fucking tools. And that's the issue, isn't it? Ronnie Dodge, don't forget Henry has been added The Flash. As far as we know, yes, a rumor, nothing official. But I'm sure Henry will have a very small little bit at the end of the movie. I think probably that's already been done. So, yeah, in May, they did some extensive reshoots. So that's where they changed the movie. That's why I think James and Peter have been in play since around April or May, unofficially. Because Walter Hamada has been, sharpening pencils. That's all he's been doing. Android 108 and Double X. What are going to happen to the characters from Birds of Prey apart from Margot Robbie's Quinn? What will happen to that version of Black Mask and Black Canary? Well, Black Mask died an unceremonious death, and I don't know what they're going to do with them. Preferably, I don't want to see them again, but who knows what the plan is there. They might bring them back and make them a little bit more comic book accurate. I'd be okay with that. Ronnie Dodge, he's seen is with Sasha, I believe. That's the rumor, I know. And that would make sense. That would make me happy. So we'll see. Supergirl and Superman are cousins. They're family. You don't take one and replace them with the other. I don't know what Hamada and Emmerich thought was going to happen here, but that would have really hurt the movie and the future of the old DCEU. And it certainly pissed me off. Ronnie Dodge, I've already read that. So we're up to date. Are you new to the channel? Are you new to seeing me? Do you think it's a bit weird? Some geezer sitting in his bedroom, talking to a camera, shouting. Don't worry, I don't bite. You can talk to me. Please press like, please share, please subscribe. You know it makes sense, as Del Boy would say. This time next year, we're going to be millionaires. Bad Super Mick, have you seen the Sin City movies? I haven't, unfortunately. I saw the trailers. They look pretty good. They look pretty snazzy. It kind of looked like 300 a little bit, the way it was shot. So lots to get excited about as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing to worry about. Get these movies out of the way next year. Enjoy them by all means. And then there's a new Vision coming. And the first part of that Vision is a fast-tracked Superman movie that could even be directed by Sir Steven Spielberg. And wouldn't that be amazing? I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, though. Abraham Herrera, I hope Sasha's Supergirl came from the open pod. I really don't want her to be from another universe. She's from another universe. In the test screening I saw, she's from another universe. She's not from the DCEU Earth 1. But after Flashpoint, she's part of the new universe, the mainstream universe, the main universe, Earth 1. Now, let's see what actually happens when we get to see this movie. But I think that's probably still going to be the thing. The open pod thing's a tragedy because her backstory in the Man of Steel prequel comic was sensational. Android 118 XX. I like Supergirl, but I don't want her to be introduced yet, like Batgirl. I really hope they don't include the character in MOS2. Still early and still much to do with the main characters. But what main characters, my friend? Supergirl is a main character. She's a very important character in the Superman mythology. I want her introduced as soon as. Bat Super, you should watch them. Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller co-directed both Sin City films. They are very good. I shall take that under advisement. Ronnie Dodge, there's two producers who are joining DC Studios who have worked on the Batman, the Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman 84. You see, I heard this yesterday, and I don't know how true it is, by the way, but this is the thing with me. You've got a DC Studios. Can we start adding some comic book people to these studios? After all, you need people to understand these universes and characters. So, you know, if James wants to add these people, they're adding them because obviously, Matt Reeves is, a big part of the new DC Studios with his projects he's doing. Obviously, the Suicide Squad is a big thing for James Gunn as well. So I understand that, but I also want to see some people added, from the comic department because they actually know how this world works. Abraham Herrera, Mick, did you check out Cabinet of Curiosities yet? Not yet. Ronnie Judge, yeah, I saw your reaction to this, yeah, and did Jim Lee to this list. And add Jim Lee to this list. Whether it's Jim Lee, whether it's someone else, you need a department in DC Studios with comic book people. So, they're there. And I'm sure that's going to happen. So, yeah, James and Matt want their people involved, and that's cool. But, yeah, at the end of the day, whoever they put in there, they better know what they're fucking doing. I don't want any more mistakes. Ronnie Dodge, don't mention GI people would flip. GI. Android 108 XX. Supergirl is important, but I want bigger focus to be on Superman and him to first build his status rank in Metropolis and in the DCEU. And when Supergirl comes, he can show her the ropes and be mentor. I know what you're saying, but I think you can do both. I think you can do both in one movie. I mean, when at the beginning, maybe he's got a bit of a status already since we last saw him. So that can solve that. Ronnie Dodge, don't mention Jeff Johns. People would flip. I mean, listen, Jeff Johns isn't perfect, but you know, he's a genius. He's created some great graphic novels like Flashpoint. He knows a lot about John Stewart, the Green Lantern. If he would be a great guy to have there, and I know people would lose their shit about that. The reason he conducted himself the way he did is because he's as passionate about DC as Zack Snyder is. And they were clashing because they have different understandings, different opinions on how those movies should be, you know, should be displayed in live action. So, yeah, I'm not a Jeff Johns hater. I think most of the things he did weren't actually wrong, but there's some things he could have handled a lot better, of course. Nobody's perfect. Ronnie Dodge, when the news dropped, so many DC comic book writers were so happy James took over, including Jim Lee. Yeah, I mean, you would expect them to be happy. You wouldn't expect them to come out and say, oh, for fuck's sake, this fucking twat's running DC now. Yeah, so everyone wants to keep their jobs. But yeah, of course they're happy. And Jim Lee is a big deal at DC, so you would expect him to be positive. Jim Lee is Mr. DC. He's basically like an ambassador for DC, Jim Lee, really. But it's interesting because I think Jim Lee is still in charge of the comic book department. Unless that changes, that'll be interesting. Because they really haven't mentioned that. But yeah, everyone came out very complimentary. They would be complimentary, wouldn't they? Ronnie George, I'm loving the posts of James at the moment, making me laugh. Very, very good. Yeah, that's what James Gunn's all about. He brings up the hype and the good feelings, and that's one of the things what's really good about James and why fans really like him. And he has a huge social media presence, which is very, very good as well. Because prior to that, with Hamada, we didn't have a social media presence, and that was incompetence at every level. Not to have someone to be feeding information to fans. It's better to have these people communicating with the fans rather than fans listening to bullshit rumors like from people like Mickey Sutton. So, you know, it's important to have a presence online. Ray Dodge, wouldn't it be surprised if we see some Guardians cast in DC movies? Neither would I. And of course, they're very popular people. People love them, so that will be great. You've got Dave Bautista. You've got Michael Karen Gillan. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean, Chris Pratt isn't very popular right now with some, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, obviously, James's brother is part of the package, so he always gets little bit part roles. It's when I care. You are always speaking truth. We all speak our own truths, my friend, but my truth doesn't mean it's everybody else's truth. As long as we understand that, no need for fallouts. Android 108 XX, I prefer new actors. Yeah, I mean, I do, to be honest with you. But this is how you sell movies, with names. This is the way it works. This is why Marlon Brando played Jor-El in Superman the movie, why Gene Hackman played Lex Luthor. They probably, I mean, Marlon Brando was perfect, born to play Jor-El. Gene Hackman, not necessarily born to play Lex, but he did play a great Lex at the time. But I know what you mean, Android 118 XX. I do get your point. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Ronnie Dodge, just keep the casting that works. I feel that's what James is doing. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have no clue what he's doing at this moment in time because we don't know what the future holds. So all we can do is guess. But it's fun. It's exciting to try and kind of double guess, you know, wonder what they're going to do. Obviously, you can see at that meeting with Spielberg and Nolan, it was Safran there and not Gunn. So you can see how important Safran is. I think Safran has more power in this partnership than Gunn does, and he's more there as a figure for people to see being there and for him to make some creative decisions. But I think that Safran is the big enchilada in that relationship, and that's a good thing because Safran has got great quality. And that's why Safran was at that meeting. It's look, we're in very interesting times right now. It's when what don't expect from DC? What do you expect from DC now? I expect them to make the best decisions possible for the IP. They're fast tracking a Superman movie, which is very exciting, and that's what I expect from them. But you know, this is the beginning of the process. It's going to take time. Ronnie Dodge with Safran at the meeting is good, as James is probably busy finishing off Guardians 3. That's correct. But this is Peter Safran's kind of part of the partnership. These are the things that he would be doing, recruiting directors. But as you can see, Zaslav is hands-on. And I think it's very, very interesting because quite a few people said he's just a CEO. He's going to take a back seat. And I mean, this guy is really hands-on. And I like it. Android 118XX would be really interesting to see what they do with Lex. Are they going to keep the current one or new one? I don't think they'll keep Jesse Eisenberg. I have a way you can keep Jesse Eisenberg, and I mentioned it yesterday. Just confusing at the moment. Need to know if they're keeping all the Snyderverse actors. Well, in the months and weeks and years to come, it will all be revealed. We're just going to have to be patient. I mean, as I said before, James Gunn is very good with previous Lex Luthor from Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum, so that will be a great solution to that problem. I've spoken about Alexander Luthor Sr. because no one says in BVS that he's dead. They talk about him like he's in past tense, but nobody actually says he's dead. So you could actually get Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin in Daredevil, to play Lex Luthor Sr. and play off of that character with Jesse Eisenberg. So are you betting on Safran, Den? I'm not betting. I'm confident in Peter Safran and James Gunn's ability to make the right decisions, but I'm not Nostradamus and I don't know. This could go well, this could go badly. I suppose time will tell. Ronnie Dodge, Gunn is developing the story to build up with the DCU, and Safran deals with directors and budget for movies. Perfect partnership, in my opinion, yeah. I'm sure Peter has opinions on the way the stories will go, and Gunn will come up with ideas, but he certainly can't go forward with things if Safran kind of is dubious about it, or even if Zaslav says, nah, you ain't doing that. So all these bodies are, you know, Zaslav, Adby, DeLuca, James, Peter, it's a unit, and it's a team, and that's what you need, because if you come up with a shit idea when you're in a team, the other people will tell you. Android 108XX, I think the only answer they could give is through the Flash movie. That way, less confusion and more understanding. Yeah, I think the Flash movie hopefully will kind of clarify a few things. I think Blue Beetle will clarify even more things. So an exciting future. I personally don't need to know it all this minute, this moment. I'm patient. It's part of the excitement. See the movies and see what happens. I think it's pretty safe to say no one knows what they're going to do. No one. And that's the kind of first as well for DC, because the leaks are just not there anymore. There's a lot of bullshit leaks, but the truth of what they're doing, nobody knows, including me. Now, I can estimate, I can theorize, and I've normally got a good handle on these things, but nobody knows anything for sure. And anyone who says they do know things for sure are really bullshitting. This is Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Welcome to Saturday night's live show. We have been live on the air for an hour and 20 minutes. Wow. And it's been so awesome. The conversations have been flowing. It's been great. It's been good, some great comments, great questions. John, I hope they don't reboot Harry Potter. I don't think they'll reboot Harry Potter, my friend. I don't see why you would think that would happen. Ronnie George, that's the good thing now. It's going to be like Marvel with hush hush and keeping things close with DCEU. Yes, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. We don't want things getting out like they were before. I mean, look at how the plot for Black Adam came out. We knew Amelia Harcourt was going to be in it ages ago. But these things are not going to happen anymore. But that's ridiculous that I knew Amelia Harcourt was going to be in this film, even before I saw the test screening. So that's just mad. Running George, I feel Fantastic Beast is dead. It's interesting. They may give her one more movie just to finish it off, although he did cancel Westworld without giving them the opportunity to finish off. So Zaslav is capable of anything. He is ruthless. And it's the ruthlessness some people are taking a dislike to. But business is business. Warner Media is nobody's charity. It's not here to, feed the egos of creatives and actors. So there you go. John, and the Shazam 2 link's ridiculous. Yeah, I know the whole movie. I haven't even seen the test screening of this film. I literally know this film beat for beat. I know exactly when Wonder Woman comes in, why they need Wonder Woman. It's an interesting moment. It sounds cool, but I know it all now. And there's been no changes to that movie. It's happening. And Wonder Woman gets mentioned before we see her all throughout the movie as well. But yeah, it was ridiculous. But there's no leaks anymore, and I like that. Ronnie Dodge, I know Gal shows up in the third act. She does, for a specific reason, a very important reason. It's ridiculous. I've done the leaks. I've covered the leaks on this channel, and I gave a spoiler alert because I was quite excited when I saw a video. I believed the person because the person has my respect. I know they're on the level, but yeah, it's not good. Android 180XX, do you expect the new Harry Potter that is rumored is going to be any good? I expect Harry's son to be the lead. I expect the new Harry Potter films to be on the same level as Fantastic Beasts. I have no idea. It depends who's attached to them, what the plan is. I couldn't tell you now. I know that J.K. Rowling, Joe, is a wonderful author, but I don't think she's a good screenwriter. You need other skills to be a screenwriter. I think, I'm a playwright. I write my own plays and star in my own plays here in Cyprus. So I'm a playwright. So I couldn't write a novel, even though I've just completed my first novel called Gender Wars, and it is absolutely influenced on the Nazis in the Second World War, but I'm taking it into identity politics of today. But that's not my strength. So everyone has their strength. So my answer to that is Jo cannot write another screenplay again and should stick to novelizations. It's not her strength. Ronnie Dodge, I wonder what costume is she wearing? Is it BVS or Wonder Woman 84 suit? Hopefully it's the one she wore in the first Wonder Woman movie, personally. But yeah, you've got a point there. And does she have her shield and her sword? Well, from what I hear from that appearance, she doesn't really need it. So, but always good to see these cameos. It's what people want. And people will be happy to see her. She shot that quite a long time ago. Andrew 180XX, there's a lot of silence on Wonder Woman. There is. I'll explain to you why. There's so much talk if Batfleck and Cavill, but what about Gal? What are they going to be doing with her? Zaslav did say he wants to prioritize the Trinity, which he does. The thing is, Wonder Woman 84 caused a lot of problems because it wasn't a good film. Now, Patty Jenkins is going around saying she's going to make lots of Wonder Woman content, but I feel that may not be the case. Ronnie Dodge, the fact Henry can't say much about Superman is making me think James and Peter has a plan for him. Well, as he said, he was asked about a director. He said, I've got to be the good soldier. I've got to be the good partner. Obviously, he's not going to start blurting about everything. I think this has been planned a while back. I think this has been in the planning since April, May. I think that's when James and Peter have been in play, no matter what the media and fans say. So interesting. But yeah, obviously they know things. And yeah, I think there's definitely a plan there. Ronnie Dodge, we know she's in The Flash as well, definitely. Film Goblin, Gowan had kids now, so I doubt she'll want to stick around. Film Goblin, with all due respect, I couldn't disagree less. What's having children got to do with stopping playing Wonder Woman? Why would she want to do that? They've got minders, these people. They've got a lot of money. She's not going to stop working. This is the 21st century, not the 18th. So I couldn't disagree more, Film Goblin. I am actually shocked that you think that. We will see. We will see. Ronnie Judge, Gal will stick around as long as she enjoys playing the character. Look, the character is her career. She does other things, but, you know, Wonder Woman saved her career. So she ain't going to give up that role unless she's fired. And I don't see a reason why, unless her loyalty to Patty is that deep, which I doubt. There is no loyalty. Film Goblin, it means she wants to spend more time with her kids and family and not be in a big franchise full time. No one said that, Film Goblin, that it's an assumption you're making, and it's an incorrect assumption. Andrew at 118XX, actors have kids low and still do movies yet. I'm afraid Film Goblin has got one of his many bad takes here, but if that's his truth, if he wants to believe things that are not actually in reality, that's up to him. This is about opinions. I respect all opinions, but I couldn't disagree with him more. Film Goblin, I'm not saying that's what she's going to do, but wouldn't be surprised if she does. No, I don't think that will happen. She's got a very great husband, not part of the industry, feet on the ground. She's got a good structure around her. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. You are live with me, Mick, on Movies TV Mad on a Saturday night, live and exclusive from Cyprus. Ronnie Dodge, James follows her, so won't be going anywhere soon. Oh, look, they all follow each other anyway. But look, there's no inclination that she's not going to be Wonder Woman. It's a nothing conversation, isn't it, really? But yeah, these people follow each other. Famous people follow each other, so I know there's an inclination to add 2 and 2 and get 4 from that, but yeah. But she's Wonder Woman, simple as that. Android 180XX, I see you're already in the Christmas spirit. I can see the lights behind you. Oh, those lights have been up for ages. I start my build up towards Christmas around end of September, October time. As soon as the shops start, I start. I'm a big Christmas person. I do love the Christmas. I love the lights. I love the movies. I love the music. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. I love it when it gets cold. I love it when it gets dark early and I turn my Christmas lights on. The house is full of it. Ronnie George, I get my tree out in a couple of weeks. Oh, my trees have been out for a while as well. I've got one outside on the balcony in the front, and I've got one in the sitting room, and they're pre-lit, and they're flashing away right now. Android 108 are you excited about the new Santa Claus movie? Is that the one when he's bad? It looks okay, yeah. It looks, I mean, look, they don't make classic Christmas films anymore. I'm not expecting anything from it. I mean, I've got the classics, so, but yeah, I'm sure I'll give it a watch. Ronnie Dodge, no, the one with Tim. Oh, the series on Disney. I am interested in it, but I've got a feeling they're going to defrock him from being Santa Claus, so it could be annoying. It'll be interesting. I'm surprised Tim's even working with them, seeing they wouldn't allow him to voice Buzz in Lightyear, which was absolutely pathetic. Even Tom Hanks came out in criticism about that. And when the great Tom Hanks is not happy with something, you know there's a problem. But I love the Santa Claus movies, yeah. So I may have to lift my boycott on Disney Plus just for that. Unless I hear shit things about it, then I won't watch it. I wonder if Elizabeth Mitchell's back as his wife. Ronnie George, she is. Great news. Elizabeth Mitchell, of course, was in the Viva revival. She starred in that. She was also in Lost. She's a very good actor. I wonder if Judge Reinhold. What about Judge Reinhold? What about Judge? Is he in it? If Judge is not in it, I ain't watching it. It's all about Judge. He's coming back for Beverly Hills Cop 4, so I'm very excited. Although I have my doubts about Beverly Hills Cop 4 after I saw Coming to America, the sequel. That was fucking shite. And, that was progressive, wasn't it? Don't do that again, please. Android 108XX, have you watched The Orphan 2? I haven't seen The Orphan 1. John, thoughts on Doctor Who coming to Disney Plus? Interesting subject. I'll get into it in a minute. Ronnie Joyce, these fireworks, Mick. We don't have fireworks. Well, actually, every fucking Saturday they're blowing up fireworks here. But yeah, it's fireworks night, isn't it? Right, John. Right, the idea of this is so international audiences can watch it. Now, here's the thing. Disney Plus isn't available in every country around the world, but Netflix is. Now, clearly, Netflix didn't offer them as much money, so they took the Disney money. Now, some people believe Disney have some control over Doctor Who now, but as far as I know, it's just a distribution deal. So I don't like Disney. I don't want them being involved with my favorite character. It's a disappointment that it's them and not Netflix, but I'm not in control. And I'm just going to go with it. That's where we are today. Ronnie Dodge, BBC still in charge of Doctor Who in a creative way. No, Ronnie, they're not. Let me explain to you what's going on. So Russell T Davies and Jane Tranter own Bad Wolf. It's a production company. It's a studio. They now have total creative control of Doctor Who. Now, the BBC are now, from this moment, since Russell came back, merely broadcasters. Now, they're not going to admit that publicly, but that's the reality. Sony now own Bad Wolf. So Sony and Disney have now got their claws into Doctor Who. And that is the reality of the situation. Is it good? Is it bad? Only time will tell. But I am concerned. Yeah, the BBC did such a great job, didn't they, with the Chibnall era? And that's why they went cap in hand to Russell T Davies and bent the knee and gave him and Bad Wolf and Sony total control. They've pretty much unofficially handed Doctor Who over in a lot of ways. This is Movies TV Mad. This is the place to be if you want to know about your entertainment, if you want to keep updated with all the DC live action news. And I know a lot about different TV, different movies. I've seen them all. And I've always got opinions about stuff and about what's going on in this industry. And yeah, so this is a good place to be. You keep and on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. I retweet all the news. Lots of people in the industry, when they don't block me. Ronnie George, I swear if Disney mess up this amazing British character, I will flip. Don't Americanize that character. I don't think they have creative control, but Bad Wolf and Russell T Davies and Jane Tranter certainly have. Now, I trust Russell T Davies, so He's a great writer. Hopefully, he don't fuck it up. Now, clearly, David Tennant is now going to be the 14th Doctor. So those rumours about him being the 14th Doctor were true. The only thing is, after the 3-part specials, he'll be gone. And Ncuti Gatwa is the 15th Doctor. That's what's going on. Now, I think Ncuti Gatwa and David Tennant will actually be on screen together at some point. So the plot does thicken. Ronnie Dodge, I trust Russell T Davies, so I will give him time. Yet, obviously, out of desperation, he's back. Out of desperation, they brought back the most popular Doctor who's living today. And unfortunately, Tom Baker is in no condition to play the 14th Doctor. So it had to be David Tennant. Capaldi says he's not coming back. I'm not sure if I believe him. So the 60th anniversary will be interesting. MSGT, Doctor Who should be straight out of Compton. You've lost me. Ronnie Dodge, I'm excited for Ncuti Gatwa. Yes, very popular with the kids, the teenagers on Sex Education. He's a very good talent. And let's see how he gets on. I believe Russell T Davies can take a vagrant off the streets and make him a great Doctor. He could have made Jodie Whittaker a great Doctor. It was the creative situation with Jodie that made her a very bland, uninteresting cardboard cutout of a Doctor, unfortunately. But yeah, Russell T Davies can make anyone a great Doctor. Ronnie Dodge, he's the first Doctor to have a moustache as well. I know, it's full of firsts, isn't it? First black gay dude, first moustache. I bet he uses both sides of the loo paper as well. That'll be another first. Ronnie John, no, I've read that. You see, I even know about Doctor Who, you see. Big Doctor Who fan, by the way. I love it. I got into it with the Peter Davison era. I skipped Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy. I loved the Doctor Who movie, warts and all. And then I love the revival, most of it. MSGT, will they CG the moustache out? No, I don't think they will. I think it's there, isn't it? In that clip we see. No, this is not Justice League, my friend. They're not going to CG the moustache out because there's no need to. The Doctor can have a moustache. The Doctor can wear a plate on his head. That's the point of Doctor Who. He can regenerate into anything or anyone. That's the point. So people saying the Doctor shouldn't be a female are talking bollocks because the Doctor can be a female, right? It isn't a male role. Yes, she was the first female Doctor. But, you know, Android 108XX, Doctor Who got boring, in my opinion, after Matt Smith. Yes, look, Stephen Moffat dropped the ball and he really wanted out and they wouldn't let him go. It was a big problem. You're kind of right. John, it's a shame we have to wait till next November to see David's Doctor Who again. Yes, listen, that's what they're doing. They clearly don't want to make a series, then the specials. So it's 3 specials, then it'll be back in 2024. Ronnie Dodge, Power of the Doctor was good. Yes, surprisingly, because I'm not a big fan of this era of Doctor Who, but surprisingly, it was good. And who was the star of this show, everyone? One Sacha Dhawan. Now, if I was RTD, I'd be keeping Sacha as the master. He's an impeccable master. I love him. There's actually no reason to replace him. Wouldn't surprise me if we see him again. Ronnie Dodge, Ncuti Gatwa's first episode, I think, is at Christmas next year. Well, there's 3 specials for the 60th anniversary. He will be involved in them. Ronnie Dodge, keep him as the master. He's a great master. If he ain't broke, don't fix it. He hasn't been playing the master for long enough either. I think it will be ridiculous to change him. We will see. And with a writer like RTD, he'll be even better. Now, who's going to be doing the music? Because the guy doing it for Chibnall ain't doing it anymore. Is Murray Gold coming back? We don't know. Ronnie Dodge, Daleks need better stories under Davies. Yeah, listen, they have to bring the Daleks back or they lose the kind of Terry Nation kind of people can take the rights away from them, because it's not the BBC or Bad Wolf who own the rights to that now. It's actually it's the Terry Nation estate. Terry Nation created the Daleks, of course. I mean, to be fair, it is hard to give these pepper pots good stories. It's difficult. What do you do with them? I do have a few ideas, like I have about most things, of course. Ronnie Dodge, Shooty did say the other day he has seen his new TARDIS console. That is correct. He's already seen it. So he's obviously shot some scenes. I think he's in all 3 episodes of the anniversary. And I think he will be on screen with David Tennant, which of course seems impossible. But I think we are dealing with a multiverse future here for Doctor Who. I did say there wouldn't be a proper regeneration in the power of the Doctor. And I was actually right. The regeneration was literally interrupted, because that ain't a proper regeneration. The Doctor's clothes don't change when the Doctor regenerates. That ain't no OG regeneration. So actually, my prediction was half right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what design RTD's people have come up with for the new TARDIS console. Isn't it exciting? That's part of Doctor Who, isn't it? New Doctor, new console, new Sonic. Ronnie Dodge, maybe when he regenerates, it will destroy Jodie's console. Maybe. That is interesting. Maybe that TARDIS isn't Shooty's TARDIS. He could be a Doctor from another Earth. That could be a thing. Maybe he's already regenerated. Maybe he already exists out there. Anything's possible, isn't it? And we know Russell said this is going to be a very different Doctor Who universe. So I'm predicting multiverse. Of course, you can follow Russell T. Davis on Instagram, and it's well worth doing. So when I get my new phone next week, hopefully, because Amazon have been shit with deliveries, I'll sort that out. John, I wonder what his outfit will look like. Yes, when we saw a clip of him, he is wearing something, obviously. Was it a suit or something? Maybe that won't be his new outfit. Interesting again. Hopefully we don't see much until we actually get to see the episodes. The problem with fans these days, they want to see stuff all the time. And I like some surprises. Ray Dodge, he's wearing David's clothes in that clip. Let me have a look. I don't think... Are you sure about that? Because they don't look like David's clothes. I'm going to have to look at the picture again. Ronnie George, he's wearing the tie that David wears at the end of The Power of the Doctor. I'm sure. Grey tie. Right, I'll check that out, Ronnie. I shall definitely check that out. Clarification definitely needed there. Interesting. If you're right, that's a good spot by you. I'm not one for details, to be honest. I didn't even notice there was anything wrong with Henry's upper lip in Justice League until people actually, pointed it out. Joel Familiar, the Joker Arkham assault scene has leaked. What's that from? A game? I don't really know what you're referring to. Oh, really? Oh, right. Yeah, oh, right. I see what you're talking about. Interesting. When I finish this live in about 15 minutes, I shall go over on Twitter and check it out and do some retweeting as well. Thank you for that, Joel. Ronnie Dodge, I can't wait. Neil Patrick Harris, Toymaker. Yeah, that was a great piece of casting by ITD. Joel Familia, I think that's how you say your name. Cheers. You are welcome. Have a beer on me. Wow, this has been a very good live tonight. I've really enjoyed it. It's good when the conversation's flowing. It's good to have a place for the fans. I'm a fan, you're a fan. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Us talking nicely and calmly to each other. The less propaganda merchants, the better. MSGT, that means Ayer is paying attention today. Definitely. MSGT, damn, Michael J. Fox died. What? What? Wow. I saw him with Christopher Lloyd yesterday. Ronnie Judge, Neil makes a good villain in anything he's in apart from Matrix. Oh, you know what? I never saw the new Matrix anyway. I knew he was in it. I mean, that new Matrix was terrible, wasn't it? Why did they bother? Again, Toby Emmerich, eat your heart out. Why did he greenlight that terrible script? This is why they've been losing so much money over the years. Absolutely clueless. This is Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most. We have been on air for nearly 1 hour and 50 minutes. That's awesome. That's amazing. If you've got anything to say, now's the time to say it. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris, of course, has been acting since he was a young boy. Yeah, was it Doogie Howser? So yeah, he's amazing talent. Isaac Cruz, Michael J. Fox died. I have no idea, my friend. Ronnie Dodge, take care, mate. You too, Ronnie. Joel Familia, there's a rumor going around that Pattinson will be the Batman for the DCU. Yeah, I mean, listen, that wouldn't surprise me, and I'm not against that. I think that would be a good idea. Ronnie Joy, I think it was a hoax. Can we not say things like that about an icon like Michael? If you don't know, it's true, please, because my heart sunk. Because to think that Michael, died, he's a legend, So can we get our facts straight before we start posting things like that? Because these things spread, it reaches his family, and people are upset when they don't need to be. Isaac Cruz Pineda, I hope Batman will be. Ronnie Dodge, nothing solid on Twitter at the moment. Okay. Well, if Michael J. Fox was dead, it'll be all over the BBC accounts, the Sky accounts. So if it's not on any news feeds, then it ain't happening. I'll check Twitter after I finished here, but yeah, let's hope that's not true, eh? Obviously, nobody wants that to be true. I mean, he's been an amazing actor. He's suffered so badly. I mean, what happened to him is just absolutely, unavoidable. It's not like he was abusing drugs or drink. It was just, it's very, very sad. And he's been so brave, so brave. Because when you're that famous and you hold yourself in a way with pride, the way he's done, it's amazing. I'm certain that next week will be another big week for DC. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we've got Wakanda Forever releasing next week. I'm not going to see it, by the way. Isaac Cruz Pineda, yeah, the Michael J. Fox thing was a hoax. Good. MSGT, I hope it's a hoax. Yeah, so do I. Why do people do that? That's people on the internet are actually disgusting sometimes, aren't they? So the Batfleck free movie deal rumor is getting passed around too. That's one I'm finding hard to believe, but who knows? Isaac Cruz Pineda, a bunch of people on Twitter were announcing famous actors' deaths. What, they were just saying a bunch of people were dead? Isaac Cruz Pineda, all right, I've already read that. So I think we can say it's bullshit anyway. It's not like the internet to spread bullshit, isn't it? Because I saw him in a picture with Christopher Lloyd yesterday, promoting something, but it doesn't mean he can't die. But people are just weird. People are just weird. And Mr. T, I know there's a whole YouTube channel that popped up saying a whole video of BS was made. It's just great. Just look, all they're good for is spreading, is spreading and making snake oil. They're just a bunch of twigs. John, was you a fan of the Masters of the Universe 80s cartoon? I most certainly was, John. I loved it. It was amazing. The best stuff. The best representation of He-Man for sure. They created a whole animated series over a bunch of toys. Amazing. No, that was great. That was a great show. Had lots of fun with that. I still watch it sometimes. I think you can watch them on YouTube. They're all over YouTube. I have the power. He-Man. Da, 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 da. And this is Orko. No, this is Cringer. My fearless friend. Secret powers were given to me the day I held up my sword and said, by the power of Grayskull, He-Man. Ronnie George, Mick, it's a hoax video made 14 hours ago and he tweeted 6 hours ago. They're such pricks. They really are such pricks. They will do anything to make money out of people. I am sick of them, sick of their bullshit. I'm sick of people falling for their bullshit as well. People are so fucking naive as well. MSGT, 136,000 tweets so far released the haircut. Fantastic. I'm very proud of everyone behind that. I've tweeted a couple of times. I've done bags of retweets. I haven't hashtagged it as much as I should, just because I'm doing other things. But obviously, I'll retweet as much as I can. I really want to see the haircut, and I support David Ayer in his mission. But that's a good turnout. I think that may be the biggest turnout for a Release the Haircut event. I don't think it's been that big in the past, has it? I think that's been part of the problem. Oh, I still remember when the Snyder Cut got 1 million tweets. Do you remember that? That was mad. That was fucking insane. Isaac Cruz, Pineda, Mick, PK farewell is today right now at Camp Nou. Yeah, he's just decided to leave out of the blue. I mean, what's all that about? Great player, came from Manchester United, of course. Very proud of him. No doubt he'll become a great manager as well. Right, I'll be shooting off in 6 minutes' time. So if you haven't smashed the like button, please do, without breaking your keyboard. at your home. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want you to sue me, but I would like you, if you haven't pressed like, to please press like. John, apart from He-Man, what were some of your favorite 80s cartoons? Well, I was a big fan of Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny was my favorite character. Tom and Jerry. There was loads. There was The Perils of Penelope Pitstop, which I absolutely adored. I loved cartoons growing up. What is it? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was fucking awesome. I've got the DVD here in my room. I watch them all the time. There's so many things. Dungeons and Dragons was a lot of fun as well. Wow, there's loads. I mean, I'd be here all day listing them to you. But the 80s was the era of great cartoons. There's a lot of animation these days that looks good, but the actual stories are pretty shit. Although the latest Minion stuff on Netflix I've been watching is fun. I do like the Minions, and I love Gru, and I love Despicable Me as well. I'm a big fan of animation. I like Family Guy, American Dad, The Simpsons. There's something about animation that relaxes me. MSGT, G.I. Joe was my only favourite cartoon. The rest were just on Saturday mornings, so I watched before Soul Train. And there used to be a Hulk cartoon where he used to talk. I used to love that. He used to go, Hulk, man! Dan, 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 na, 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 na. And I can't find that certain animated one because there's a few Hulk ones, but they're always the wrong ones. John, remember Wacky Races? Yes, because that had Penelope Pitstop as well. But no Hooded Claw. I used to love the Hooded Claw. Yeah, Wacky Races was obviously amazing. Ronnie George, yes, was a YouTube hoax. Damn assholes. I'll say damn instead of the other thing. Yeah, look, Ronnie, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. As you know from my platform, I don't engage in bullshit. Probably because that's why I'm not successful, but who cares? Bat Super, did anyone here watch Biker Mice from Mars? No. I used to watch Mighty Mouse, though. Mighty Mouse, Danger Mouse, Danger Mouse. Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. Super Ted was cool as well. There was loads of stuff. And away from animation, I used to love Rent-A-Ghost. If you want to be a smarty pants core, Rent-A-Ghost. Oh, my childhood. Ronnie Dodge, man has an illness and a legend, and the people do that. People need their head sorting out. What YouTuber did this? Who did this? Who damn well did this? Arrest that man! John, I saw a couple of episodes of Bat Super. That's amazing because I've never even heard of it. Oh, there's a lot of animation I watched as a kid. There was so much of it. There's some I can't remember, but yeah. Bat Super, they were free biker mice who came to Earth, and their villain is some alien pretending to be human. Has similar vibes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Interesting. Of course, I used to like those cartoons. The Real Ghostbusters, I used to watch that as well. That was cool. The Smurfs, of course. I loved watching the Smurfs every Sunday on ITV or LWT as it was. Bat Super at John, I love that show so much. Time for a rewatch. I must admit the concept sounds fucking insane. But each to their own, of course. Rolo, G.I. Joe and Transformers. Cool. Transformers, robots in disguise. Thunder, 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 cats. And they all used to have great theme tunes, didn't they? That was the great thing back then. Theme tunes. We used to have proper intros. Not just animation, but we had great theme tunes. Dallas, Dynasty, Knots Landing, Sons and Daughters. Sons and daughters, love and laughter. Now I'm going way off base, aren't I? Rewind the Times, Mask, great cartoon, great theme song. John, how could I forget about Thundercats? Oh, iconic, wasn't it? Thundercats. MSGT. Oh yeah, Mask. I've never heard of that one, to be honest. To be fair. And of course, the Disney animation I used to love as a kid, Donald Duck, the Donald and Mickey shorts, Pluto, Goofy, Popeye. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I eat all my spirits, because I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Meep, meep. Roadrunner. Meep, meep. Oh yeah, there was some great stuff growing up. We were very spoiled. I mean, in the UK, we had 3 or 4 channels. We didn't have much to watch, and I was always by my VHS with blank tapes. I used to record all the Looney Tunes stuff. I had tapes full of them. It was amazing. Right, everyone, unless there's anything else, I'm going to wrap up for tonight. So if there's any final comments you want to make before I wrap up, so I don't leave you half-assed, just pop them down and I'll read them out right now before I wrap up. We have been live on a Saturday night for over 2 hours, and I tell you, it's been a lot of fun. John, great live. Thank you very much. It's great because all you guys were chatting away, saying great stuff, and I was feeding off of it, and it was awesome. And I had a great time because I didn't expect tonight, being a Saturday, to be that hyped. So, there's content here on Movies TV Mad. We're live twice a day. We have a pre-recorded video in the middle of that. So there's lots of content for you. MSGT out. This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video tomorrow for the DC Universe Daily Live. Until then, whatever you're doing tonight, have a good night, sweet dreams, and remember, until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for the support. It's been absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, check me out on Twitter @Movies TV Mad. See you tomorrow.